Such pride in battling for those that didn't have a voice and, going toward the person, as an entertainer and somebody that lives in the public eye. We, were favored to have the option to make some noise. What's changed is, it's anything but a couple of individuals with a cognizance about variety. It's everybody's getting it done. Furthermore, that's changed. Be that as it may, presently you're getting yourself in a tough situation by saying it is. It seems the famous entertainer Idris Elba has conveyed a chilling admonition about the disrupting real factors of Hollywood. Known for his support against prejudice and candid position on friendly issues, Elba reveals insight into the hazier parts of media outlets. His dangerous assertions have tossed the whole business into a stressed furor. Hold tight close, folks, since we are going to dig into the enlightening experiences shared by this powerful voice. Idris Elba, the gifted English entertainer, has destroyed the business with his stunning abilities, from his famous jobs as Stringer Chime in The Wire to DCI John Luther in the acclaimed BBC One series. He's made a permanent imprint on the amusement world. However, his excursion to progress was certainly not a simple one. He hustled between acting gigs and working in different responsibilities to help himself. However, his assurance paid off, and he procured the esteemed title of Official of the Request for the English realm for his striking commitments to show. That is to say, actually, I tried out for this for such a long time and they told me, don't come in with your English pronunciation. It doesn't sound extremely tried out. Definitely, multiple times. Get out of here. During a new educational meeting with Channel 4 News, Idris Elba sent a dangerous admonition about the dull real factors of Hollywood, revealing insight into the business upsetting practices and resolving major problems like variety. We discuss it as an unquestionable necessity. Like we discuss air, similar to we discuss orientation balance, similar to we discuss inclusivity. In a valiant endeavor to battle bigotry, Idris Elba is bravely utilizing his voice to shake the actual underpinnings of Hollywood. Yet, notwithstanding his steadfast purpose, it appears to be that the business ears stay hard of hearing to the dire requirement for change. Everybody's doing it, and that's changed. As he valiantly takes a stand in opposition to the shadows that hide behind the style and charm, dim powers appear to contrive against him. During a noteworthy meeting on The Jonathan Ross Show, Idris dropped mysterious clues about the risks he faces for his insubordinate disobedience. All things considered, presently you're causing yourself problems by expressing maybe it's the most common thing on the planet. However, even despite misfortune, Idris stays unflinching as he continued looking for equity, unfaltering and resolute. He states that his job as an entertainer goes past the cinema. Perceiving the force of his voice, he willingly volunteers to oppose treachery and focus a light on the more obscure corners of the business. I was an entertainer and somebody that lives in the public eye. We, were favored to have the option to shout out. Strangely, in the midst of the murmurs of Hollywood's first-class organizing secondary passage bargains, an inquisitive outrage unfurled, leaving Idris Elba trapped in a snare of misleading. Some suspect that the Mail Online's bold case about his alleged familial connections to Damson Idris was a vile endeavor to dishonor the candid entertainer. As Idris courageously raised his voice against treachery, strong figures in the business might have looked to discolor his standing through bogus associations and unwarranted reports. Damson Idris himself reveals insight into the disarray encompassing his supposed association with Idris Elba. The youthful entertainer recognizes that mixed-up personalities and misleading affiliations have obfuscated reality, persuading numerous to think in a non-existent kin bond. Whenever I first met him was at a companion's party. Idris Elba was like, "Hello, come here." I stroll over to him and he's like, "I know you." I know you. They generally inquire as to whether you're my younger sibling. You're accomplishing something useful. You're accomplishing something useful. Despite the fact that Idris isn't irate about the unusual correlation, the equivalent can't be said about the fans. They accept it as a terrible joke, thinking about the public citizenship regulations in Europe. A terrible joke, yet not startling. After you figure out the reasoning of most European nations in their treatment of minorities individuals, particularly in citizenship status. 5 ages should pass in France for a minority individual there to be a resident. Nonetheless, in the event that an ethnic minority is decided to depict James Bond, a few distributors could express more regrettable things than a terrible joke. Then again, Idris astutely used this time of the spotlight to get more acclaim. His savage reaction was, "I'm not exactly worn out on it, gossip's left with me. I believe I'm the most renowned Bond entertainer that never really filled the role. So nothing more needs to be said. That's what I'll take." Tragically, the persistent disdain and joke look by Elba caused significant damage, driving him to lose interest in the sought-after James Bond job, which is without a doubt quite possibly of the most valued position in the business. As detailed by Assortment, he said, basically it was an enormous commendation that each side of the world, with the exception of certain corners which we won't discuss, were truly cheerful about the possibility that I could be thought of. Those that were troubled about the thought made the situation nauseating and unpleasant in light of the fact that it became about race. It became about rubbish and I got its brunt. His actual fans are right alongside him to help his choice, one of them remarked. Idris Elba, long prodded as a potential leader to assume control over the famous job of James Bond, says he lost any genuine interest in assuming control over the job when the negative response just to the hypothesis turned into about race. We as a whole realize that the world has been fixated on the disruptive idea of personality governmental issues. However, Idris has resisted the standard and broken generalizations by pronouncing that he will never again restrict himself to the mark of an explicitly dark entertainer. One can't resist the urge to contemplate whether there's a first-class plan at the foundations of such orders looking to control public talk. In a new meeting with Esquire, UK, Elba's refusal to be limited by backward undertones alludes to a more profound drive to break liberated from the stifling handle of these disruptive builds. He said prejudice is genuine, however according to my viewpoint, it's just essentially as strong as you permit it to be. I quit depicting myself as a dark entertainer when I understood it put me in a crate. We must develop. We must. Our skin is something like that. It's simply skin. Bluster over. In addition, the entertainer was likewise denied open doors because of his skin tone, yet people in general didn't uphold Elba's account. Rather, they remained against it, resenting the entertainer denying his actual character. Envision not in any event, attempting to be that bigot yet overseeing it. However, you're a public paper. Faltering. Only 3 days after the proclamation sent shockwaves through the diversion world, the entertainer Idris took to Twitter to explain his position, stressing his pride in his way of life as a person of color, his strong voice difficulties, Hollywood's limitations. While he stays a brave supporter against bigotry and bad form, which shows the upsetting shadows that hide behind the business. That is all there is to it for now, people. Until sometime later, farewell. Thanks for watching.